Hello Steelers, and welcome to a bench report hobby update. First one for a couple of weeks because, as you know, if you were watching the last one, I was away last week, but I'll get back to that. An exciting weekend away, but I'll talk more about that later on. After I talked about all the other hobby stuff that I've actually managed to do in the last couple of weeks. I actually took a fortnight off because I had some time off in lieu built up, so I thought I'll take this time off now and I can get a lot of videos filmed, so I've got some backup for the next couple of months now. I managed to do that, so that's pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that. However, I've also been painting things as well. So I've had a few things in the post since I last spoke to you. The first thing is the water tower for Singapore. This is based on the Adams Park water tower, which you can see in Singapore itself. This was dead easy to paint, pretty much just stone grey with a few washes and then some dry brushing, and that was about it pretty much. Little bits of weathering here and there. But this was 3D printed by Paul over at Sabotaged for me. He still, I believe, has the file, so you could probably pop over there and ask him to get a copy if you want one yourself. I just put it on a base as well. So that was done, that was nice. The other thing as well I painted, and I actually got these in the post as well this week, was from Peter Pig, a 15mm British platoon for Malaya. So these are actually Peter Pig's 8th Army figures, but I painted up in the early jungle uniform that they were wearing, which is basically the what do they call them? Not Baghdad bloomers, but they're basically they're in their early form of. It's pretty much the desert uniform that they were using in the jungle before they started using the jungle greens later in 1943, which the 14th Army were wearing. So these are very specific to that particular theatre. Now I've got loads of these painted elsewhere, but I just wanted to do a specific individual platoon for Chain of Command, so that didn't take long, a few days of work. I was thinking of doing a painting video on them as well, but unfortunately some of the footage came out a bit blurred, so I'm hunting around for a spare figure. I've asked my mate if he's got one. Maybe he'll end up giving me a 8th Army figure for that painting video. We'll see. The other thing I did as well, because I went out to Waterloo, I wanted to play a game of Blucher and also film that. And then I realised that the table was a little bit bare because I don't have a huge amount of 2mm stuff apart from trees and things like that. So I actually made some 2mm scale fields, and these were just made using foam board. I got those from Hobbycraft here in the UK. You can get different types of it, give it a quick spray with different colours, and then just basically flocked it, cut it into different shapes, and then that just basically spreads across the table, just to fill the table up, really, just to make it look a little bit more interesting. Not brilliant, but very quick, and I did them basically the night before I started playing the game. The other thing as well I got, I painted, was I finally finished off the rest of the Peter Pig French that I got kicking about. Well, not the rest of them, but quite a few of them. I bought a few more in. I got some French surrendering, I got some big men that I put on pennies instead of 15mm rounds, and also some trench raiders as well, so just to mix up a little bit, just to have a bit more of an interesting force there. And then also, for support for those, Richard Hogg very kindly sent me a load of Renault 17s, FTs, Renault FTs. They're more commonly known as Renault FT 17s, but they didn't actually use the 17 number, it's just an FT. So I painted these. He did half of them with the rail on the back, the trail at the back of it, and also half with the 37mm anti-tank gun, and the other half with MGs. So I can mix those up, and they are very nice. He did them on some kind of rubberized resin, I think, but they've turned out really nice. I'm quite pleased with those, so they'll be used in either Through the Mud of Blood or Great War Chain of Command, which I have been slowly working on, but I've got no more news on that at this point. I am thinking of making a video about it, just to show some of the things that I've been thinking about, but that's something for future. So the other stuff I said, I mentioned I got quite a lot actually. So Richard did send those FT17s. He also, sorry, the FTs, not FT17s. I also got the Peter Pig 8th Army stuff as well. But Richard also sent very kindly, and I'm working on them at the moment, Mark 1 of the black and white houses in Singapore. This was the first one he sent through. We discussed it. I think it's a little too small, so he's basically upped it and made it much bigger. And then he sent this one through here, and you can see I'm starting to work on this one. This is a far improved version of it. It also has lugs on it to hold it in place, so the tops don't slide around. It looks really good. It looks like a nice colonial, typical Singaporean house. And as I say, at the moment I'm just block colouring this in, so that is something I'm going to be working on over probably the next couple of days, I would have thought. Hopefully I'll get it finished. Richard said he's going to do a couple of variations and then maybe send some more through to me, so thank you very much for that, Richard. And then he said he is going to put them on Thingiverse, I think, when he's finally happy with the design. So that's been a bit of a back and forth discussion between us about those. So once again, thank you, Richard, if you're watching. They look fantastic. Already mentioned it, yes, I got Peter Pig 8th Army for Singapore as well. The other thing that came in the post, I'm kind of everything's kind of within a certain theme at the moment. It's the French First World War or Malaya, and I got this, the French Trench Warfare Manual, reference manual. This came from Naval and Military Press. I'll put a link down below, but it is basically a facsimile of the French 1917-18 trench manual that they use, which talks all about the platoons. I've been meaning to get it for ages, and then I was reminded on Facebook somebody else had bought it, and I remembered, oh yes, I actually need to get that for a while, so I thought I may as well get that, and I did. The other thing that I got as well in the post were these chain of command platoon rosters. Now, you may remember I've had some of these before. I've got the First World War ones. These ones are Second World War ones, and I got these through Warbases. They're from my design. I'll put a link to my Google Drive that's got all the chain of command rosters in that I've designed. These are specifically 15mm, so they'll fit 15mm diameter bases in these. And what I've got here, I've got the British Late War Infantry Platoon and also the German Late War Infantry Platoon. These are the very basic ones that are straight out of the rule book, so there's no messing about with these. These are just what you get. And the reason I did these is because in a couple of weeks now, actually, it's going to be CrackCon 4, and I said I'd put on a game of Chain of Command in Normandy, 1944, using British versus Germans, and these will be perfect. And again, Warbases have done such a great job of these. So they have sold some to other people, so I would suggest, you know, getting in touch with them and asking about them. And as I say, I'll put the other designs that I've done so far in the description down below, so you can access them as well. I have played quite a lot. As I say, I took a fortnight off, so I've done quite a lot of solo gaming for videos. However, the first thing we played was I played a game of I Ain't Been Shot One with Dean. He's trying to learn how to play the game, so I was just giving him. It was just a basic learning game. I filmed it, but it's ended up with about 117 gigabytes of data. And I've been trying to edit it, and it's very difficult because there's a lot of us just bantering through it. So actually, just trying to get the action is quite difficult. This is a bit of a joke, but if there's anybody out there that fancies trying to edit a 117 gigabyte video down to something usable, then hit me up. I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to dump it, because I want to, I want to put it, get it out there at some point. So I'm just trying to think about how I go about editing it, because it is I've done maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes of it or something, and it's taken days so far, so I'm kind of loath to go back to it at this point, but I'll probably just keep it in my folders and tackle it at some other point when I'm feeling fit and fine for it and I haven't got anything else to do. So yeah, I'm just thinking about how to tackle that. But I've also played Chain of Command Singapore, the first part of Mark Backhouse's mini pint-sized campaign, half pint-sized campaign that was in the WSS magazine, which I mentioned previously, the latest one about the Far East. So that was an interesting game. I've filmed that. That will be on the channel soon enough. As I say, I'm trying to put together a schedule for the next few weeks, a couple of months actually. I've got a schedule running into November at this point, so it will be along at some point. I'm also going to be playing Chain of Command Singapore with Dean as well, the second scenario. We said we'd play that. He's going to be British, I'm going to be the Japanese attacking. I'm just waiting for him to let me know what supports he wants, but that's going to be played, and I will film that, and that will also be on the channel at some point as well. I'm going to take my mistakes from filming the IMB shot moment and just kind of change it around so it's easier to edit. I mentioned it, I played Blucher as well. I played a big 300-point game of Blucher. That was just before and after actually going to Waterloo. It took quite a long time. That has been edited, that's been put together. That's nearly a 2-hour video. So that's something that will be coming out again in the next few weeks. Keep your eye out for it. And also then finally, I was still on the Waterloo High, so I actually played Sharp Practice as well, set in 1815. So that's another game that I once again filmed, and once again that is edited and up and waiting to be shown at some point later in the future. I also made a review of Blucher as well, so that'll be along in the next couple of months, so check that out. And finally, the big thing that happened, obviously, last weekend I was over at Waterloo. Mark drove us over there, which was brilliant. Thank you very much, Mark, if you're watching, for driving. It was really, really appreciated. And Dave Kenyon was the man that put it all together. So thanks again for Dave for doing that as well. Both of you were fantastic. We basically spent 2 days. First day on the battlefield at Waterloo. I put a photo dump in the Storm of Steel Facebook page, so go and check that out anyway. You'll just have to cycle back through some of the older posts, but it's there. Put all the photos up with captions. We spent the first day on the Waterloo field itself, at the Lion Mound, at the museum, down to Hougoumont, down to La Haye Sainte. We also went over Plants Noir in the afternoon. We also had a look at Wellington's museum first thing in the morning. And then the second day we went a little bit further. So we headed out to Quatre Bras, which is Napoleon's headquarters first of all, then down to Quatre Bras, which is a place I've always wanted to see. I've always been more interested in Quatre Bras than I have in Waterloo. I don't really know why. And then we also headed out to Ligny as well. Bumped into a weird Belgian festival that was going on. What I've done is I've also put together basically a visit report for that, which again will be along probably in about a month or so. So that's been put together and put up and ready to go. So I'm not going to talk too much about it now because that pretty much covers everything we did. What was very nice was, in the hotel we were staying, there was also another group of wargamers. I can't remember where the guys were from, Hertfordshire, but one of them was Greg from the Wargamers Forum. So hello Greg if you're watching, nice to meet you, and nice to meet all the chaps as well. And we went out for a meal with them on the second night. Was it Saturday or was it? Yeah, I think it was Saturday night or Sunday or Friday, I can't remember which one it was, but we went out with a meal for them. Everybody was discussing their favourite rules and why they were favourite rules and why they didn't like certain rules and stuff. So it was typical Wargamer talk, and it was great. Really enjoyed it. So that was a bit of a highlight of the visit as well. Also bumped into our mate Steve as well, who Dave and I have not seen for over a decade, I think, at this point. So now I've seen Steve a little earlier than that, but we certainly used to work together on the Western Front in archaeology, but we just have not seen. Various things have happened and we just haven't seen him since. But it was brilliant to see him, and it was absolutely completely unexpected that he was just giving a tour guide talk at the bottom of the land mound as we were walking down. Now, as I say, I've already done basically a report on that, the visit, so that will be coming along, give you an idea of the kind of thing that you would see if you are a visitor and where you can go. The other thing I'm going to mention as well, just before I wrap up here, is the Storm of Steel Facebook group is actually closing in on 1,000 members now. It's just over 900 at this point. So if you haven't joined it, I'll put a link in the description down below, but please do go and join it. You basically just, all you have to do is just request it, and I'll let you in as soon as I see the request. So come and join it. Post some pictures in there. If you are lucky enough, you will get your picture featured as the banner headline for the week, if I like it, or if I just decide to change it. So come along, check it out, see what everyone else has been up to in there, and let's hopefully get that group over 1,000 members. That would be fantastic. All right, I'll leave it at that. As always, Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. The usual jive, you know, just getting on, hit that subscribe button. It costs you nothing, and you will see all of my latest videos as soon as they are released. And I'll leave it to that, and I will say thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next Storm of Steel video.